Hello, everyone. How y'all doing today? This is Dr. Nicole Brown, founder of the Nurse Dolls, and also specializing in home care, government contracting, nonprofits, and we're promoting nursing to the next generation every way we can. So today we're having our nurse talk, and we just wanted to bring up some of the topics that are in the news today. Hope all is well where you're at and you're enjoying your weekend. All right, and I have my host here, Corey. Say hi.
Hey everybody, how are you doing? I hope everybody's having a great Easter weekend. What's going on, Dr. Nicole?
Well, I just want to make a notation that we have so many dolls. We have a few dolls left. I have more in storage. I just came back from an event. So if you're looking around, I'm just showing you that we have our dolls. We normally have our walls filled with dolls, but today we have a limited amount that because I just came back from the event and I sold out. So I have one left. So just letting you know what we have left on both sides because I only got a little bit. I got to replenish all of my dolls. But how are y'all doing today? I had a great weekend at a wonderful event. And like I said, I sold out of the dolls that I had. I was running out of the door, so I just grabbed the ones that were on the shelf. So I haven't had a chance to put anything back. All righty. So just sharing out that people are still interested in the nursedolls.com. Check us out. We have our 18-inch dolls books, and it comes with a free book, which is going to be our N is for Nurse book. That's our signature book that we all started out with me explaining nursing from A to Z to my children. So, what's going on in the news today, Corey?
Well, we have graduations coming up,
Woohoo!
and
I love
we are
nursing graduations. I taught nursing for 10 years and I have been at graduations, and it was a magical experience, especially for the students and the parents because they have earned it. So, go ahead.
yes, ma'am. So a lot of people are searching and wondering online about the road from being an RN to an NP nurse practitioner.
Okay, well, there are several roles that you can get there. The role that I traveled was I was a nurse's aide first, and then I went to registered nursing school, and I got my associate's degree in nursing. Then I went and got my bachelor's degree. That's an RN to BSN program, and then after that, I would go to apply to for a master's degree because an MP is at a master's degree level, and some colleges and some places it's at a doctoral level. So it depends on which place you want to go. So those are some of your options. You can also go. A lot of nurses may start out as a CNA, then they go to LPN, that's licensed practical nurse. That's a diploma, and then after that they might go into RN school, and then after they finish their RN or in their BSN, then they can apply for their master's or DNP as a nurse practitioner. It depends on what location that you're going to. Now, those programs, you have to at least have a 3.0 GPA to be accepted into those types of programs, and you have to maintain that 3.0. So they're very strict. And nursing criteria, especially in an associate's program, is going to be on a 7 point scale. That means an A is like a 100 to a 93. And then a B is going to be from a 92 to like an 87. And then a C is going to be 86 to at 80. So those are, it's on the 7 point scale. So a nurse in C is going to be different. It's not in the 70s. Still in the 80s, the low 80s. So those are some of the things you have to look into. I do encourage people to be nurse practitioners. We have about 22 states that allow nurse practitioners to practice independently. That means they don't need a doctor to sign off. Here in the state of Virginia, after 5 years, you're automatically grandfathered and you'll be able to practice independently. So I think that's really a good cause. And then a lot of nurse practitioners start their own businesses, when they become nurse practitioners. And there's so many businesses they can do as a nurse practitioner. So the floodgates are open. We need more nurse practitioners, more registered nurses, more LPNs, more RNs, more doctorally prepared nurses. So we just need more nurses in period. So I welcome you to and encourage you to pursue nursing. Get in where you can fit in. I started out as a nurse aide. Yeah, if you want to start as a CNA, some go straight to LPN school and some go straight to RN school. But and then you can have your advance. If you already have a degree, you can get a second degree, straight baccalaureate degree, and that's like an accelerated program, and it may take you about 2 years or a year and a half. So you can apply for that. I would not encourage anyone to come straight off the street, even if they have a degree, and go straight into an MP program. I think that you have to learn nursing. And it will make you a better nurse to understand the foundations and how things started out. And you have to know the history of nursing. So I do not agree with the straight master's programs. I think that you have to learn something about nursing. So take your time, learn to be a nurse, and start out. You can start out in your baccalaureate program and then apply to a master's degree program. So you will have some skill set. Okay. Just for safety purposes, I think you need more training. And if you ask me, you would have more training and be able to understand what nursing is. Don't just jump into it. Okay. Next question.
All right. So currently, right now, the United States is going through a lot. There is a bill to save money that has been recommended by our government to decrease Medicaid overall by 10%.
Well, I don't think that's a very good option. I think that what our administration is looking at is that by 2050, 25% of our population will be 65 and above. And that means these people are going to need home care services. So I think that they're trying to get stricter now on the services that are provided by Medicaid, because with Medicaid, you have to prove that you have low income. To be able to receive Medicaid, you have to have low income, and you're going to need to have non-medical or medical services to apply to. Well, for Medicaid, you're going to have their non-medical services, or we have adults who have trachs that we can offer private duty nursing under Medicaid. So those are some of the criteria for Medicaid that you would have to do. So I think that this is going to it's going to make it harder for people who really need services to acquire services. So we have to look into that. And, I think that may be why this administration is focused on that, is because they know that, right now, I think we're at 15% of our seniors are 65 and above. And by 2050, we're going to have 50%. So, and also some of the things that I'm thinking about is that why have they stopped this abortion issue? So we can have more taxpayers. We're making more taxpayers to be able to help us with the crisis that we're getting ready to hit, where we have 25% of our population is going to be 65 and above. So that means a lot of people are going to be seeking Medicaid services. So maybe that's what the administration is looking at. And you know what? It would be nice if they shared that information as to why we're having all of these big changes. Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am. So we always talk about your process that you went through to become a nurse and things like that. But currently, right now, there's a war on education. They want to close the Department of Education. We know that. But since February 28th, 780 grants have been terminated. They no longer exist. So what does that look like for somebody? They want to go to nursing. They want to be debt free when they come out of nursing school. What does that look like when so many of these things are being canceled?
Well, they're going to have to bunker down. They're going to have to find new ways to go into school. I went to the military to get some training so I can get free education. They may have to save up. Some people may have to cut back on some of their expenses. And maybe education may be a planned event as opposed to, well, I'm just going to college. I don't know what I want to major in. I'll just figure it out on the way there. You may have to be more intentional about your education. I know they had some fun when I've taught nursing for 10 years. I've taught at the community college and at a university. And they had a big issue where we had some students just going to school. If you make an F or a D, you can repeat the class. Well, now they put restrictions on that. You have to have an F. If you're on financial aid, you have to have an F to be able to repeat the class where the government will pay for it. But if you get a D, and if you want to repeat it, you have to pay for it on your own to bring up your grade. So that's a catch-22. And we didn't have that policy back in the old days. We had students just taking the class, just, well, I made an F this time. Okay, the next time made a D. Okay, the next time made a C. The next time made a B, So they were in financial aid and they were able to take classes as many times as they wanted to. So I think it's just a change in this administration. And, we have survived before with these administrative change, and we'll survive again, and we'll learn how to adjust. And then if there are different, you're talking about federal grants, maybe, so we're going to have to go to the private sector. The private sector people are going to have to step up and maybe start offering more opportunities for grants and also education funding. So we may have to depend on these people and look for private people who have money, who want to share their wealth at the colleges and universities and help people who need an education.
All right. So we're winding on down. The next thing is that we had a nurse that had to basically she went in, and when she went in, she took the person's weight as it was entered in the system. The parent said the child weighs 55 pounds, and they put it in the system. In medicine, they weigh it by kilograms, right? So they ended up doubling the weight. And when she went in to see the child after, going to get the medicine, she was like, me and this child don't weigh the same amount. How much does this child weigh? 55 pounds. But the person just doubled it and did, 110 in there for the actual weight in kilograms. And she almost overdosed the patient when she told the doctor what was going on, how something was, input in there incorrectly. It delayed the patient in getting the treatment that they needed, and the x-rays they needed, because they broke their arm extensively. So, can we talk about those steps?
Yes. Normally when you come into the hospital and an emergency room, because I was emergency room nurse 10 years. I've been a charge nurse. I've been a triage nurse, and I've been a clinic nurse that was connected to the emergency room. So when you first initially have somebody come in, we normally don't take the parents verbally about the weight. I would have the child get on the scale. We always, even a baby, you weigh the child. Now, if this is a grown adult and they might know about their weight more consistently, then and if there was an issue with them getting on the scale, I could see that. But for a child, yeah, I would not have taken that. I would definitely have put the child on a scale and made sure I knew that it was, the appropriate amount. But that's what nurses do. We are the checks and balances. And I'm glad that nurse caught that the child did not look like the weight that was stated on the paperwork, did an investigation and just weighed the patient, and then was able to call the doctor back and get a recalculation on that medication. So those are some of the things that nurses do. And I commend her. Thank you so much for watching her license and also the license of others who were there.
All right.
So and also patient safety. That was for patient safety too.
So with that, what can a nursing student do to protect themselves when a parent or somebody is really adamant saying, oh, well, the person can't stand up on the scale because they're in pain? What should a nurse do?
okay, we're going to halt services until they get on the scale. That's it. I've had patients going, they come in the door, I need pain medicine. I'm like, honey, I don't know anything about you. I need to have your name. We have to do an assessment first. And they're like, I need pain medicine now. I'm like, ma'am, I don't know your name. I don't know your weight. I don't know what you're allergic to. I cannot give you medications until we take 5 minutes and fill out this paperwork so we have the information on you. And I've had clients 10, 20, 30 minutes later, they still hollering and screaming. Ma'am, the assessment takes maybe 5 minutes. I cannot give you any medicines until we do our paperwork and we do a thorough assessment. And I've had patients ask for a different nurse. And I'm like, okay, call the charge nurse. And when she assigns me you another nurse, they can come in here and do that. Good luck with that. But yeah, I don't, when I'm giving medicine, I'm practicing under my license. And we're going to follow a protocol. And a protocol says that I need to have an assessment on you, and we need the proper weight. We need vital signs and all kinds of things. So I don't give any medications, especially a narcotic, unless we have all our documentation. I'm very sorry, but we gotta be safe.
All right. So Miss Williams on TikTok asked, do you give advice on pediatric patients?
It depends on what the question is. What's going on?
Miss Williams, if you are having any issues or concerns, please feel free to send a DM or email to Dr. Nicole, and she'll be sure to get back with you. You can email her at info@thenursedolls.com or send her a direct DM on TikTok, okay? She'll be very happy to help.
Or she can just put it in the chat box down here because we're going to be here another few minutes. We'll see, can we help assist her with that? All right, what's the next question?
The next question is, the big thing that we have an issue with is tariffs and how they are going to affect the medical industry. There's not a lot of stuff made in the USA.
No, it's not.
Can we talk about this?
Yes, I do not know what is the thought process of this administration. And I wish that the administration would share some of the rationales as to why we're having to go through these struggles. But we were reviewing and looking at tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China. And I'm like, how is this going to affect our healthcare? Where for Canada makes most of our medications, especially antibiotics, our blood thinners, also medical devices such as our pulse ox machine. That shows how much oxygen is in your system. So when you go to the hospital and you're short of breath and they put your finger in a little machine and it registers and gives you, up to 100, 90 to 100 is a good sign. If it goes below that, there's an issue. And also they need to let people know we get a lot of our medical marijuana from Canada. Okay, those of y'all who are in the need of this medical marijuana, you might want to be a little bit concerned with that. I personally have never tried marijuana, but I know a lot of people do need it, and it comes more people produce more of our medical marijuana comes from from Canada. So it's going to be more expensive. And I know it's really expensive now. So expect an increase. Also from Mexico, some of the things that we use in healthcare is going to be our patient monitoring. That's going to be our heart monitors. Also our diagnostic machines, such as a Doppler to determine if you have a blood clot. Implants are made over in Mexico. Now, I'm not sure if was it a hip implant, knee implant, or was it breast implants? Which ones?
It just gives a generalization
implants. And also catheters. We need a lot of catheters, especially when you can't urinate. That's we have to go in with a catheter to be able to release that urine in a quick jiffy if you need that release. We have patients that come in all the time. They haven't used the bathroom, urinated in 4-6 hours. They need a catheter urgently, quick, and in a hurry, in a jiffy. So this is going to be affected if you can't get supplies from Mexico due to tariffs, and also some other supplies from China. But China makes everything for us: syringes, needles. Uh, what are some other things, Corey? Gloves. We get gloves from China. We need gloves.
Those N95 masks.
The N95 masks, the PPE are protective, personal protective equipment. That's how we got through COVID. We needed all this stuff from China, and anything else, because those are some big items: syringes, needles, gloves, protective equipment, and everything else.
Well, China is actually the biggest person that creates new medical technologies and mass produces them. So going through that process, is it even beneficial when America is
so dependent on others for our health care services? Oh, wow. Again, I wish this administration would share with us the rationale behind these tariffs, because we have things popping up. But why is my question. So I know people are protesting this new administration, because this has been a lot in these last, how many months? Wow. 4 months.
Yes.
Lots of changes. But we will endure. We will endure. Go ahead, Corey.
If you need some aspirin, that comes from China. Most of the North American supply of aspirin comes from China, which produces about 120 billion tablets a year.
Wow. That's really, we need China. We need all of these services. We need Mexico. We need Canada. This is for our health care. So I don't know what else we're going to do. We're going to have to start writing your senators and congresspersons and letting them know that this is not looking good and you don't understand why. So definitely. And I want more healthcare people, nurses and doctors and x-ray technicians and sonograph people and people in all aspects of healthcare start running for public office. The only way we can make more changes that are positive, that can focus on healthcare, is to be where they're making the decisions. And that's going to be in Congress. So we need to start applying for those positions, running for office as senators and congresspersons. We need more healthcare career people in that space, running for politicians, running for politician offices and being politicians. We need more. Any other questions today, Corey?
The last one is from Miss Williams. So the doctor recommended Enfamil for her. I'm not sure which kind, but the doctor did recommend Enfamil for her daughter, but she refuses to give her daughter the formula. So what should she do in that instance? How can she advocate and do research on what she needs?
Okay, this is a very general question because I need to know how old the baby is. And furthermore, are you breastfeeding, or is that a supplement for the breastfeeding, or what other kind of milk, over-the-counter milk, were you using for your child? So those are some of the things that we would definitely have to talk about. I would need more information on the rationale. And was the child having any reactions to any other milk? So exactly what's going on. Are you able to use any other type of milk? So yeah, I would probably suggest that you go ahead and seek a referral from another pediatrician on these issues, because I don't have enough information. And then my children are 23, 21, and 19. So I remember Enfamil, but I could not tell you any other milk products that are available out there on the, like if I went to Walmart, because my children are grown. I don't have any grandbabies, thank goodness. They're all in college. Actually, got 2 graduating next month. So from college. So yeah, I'm sorry. So yes, I am but Enfamil is bad on her stomach. She's a newborn. Okay, so what other suggestions do we have for milk? What other suggestions? Are you breastfeeding at all? Is this the supplement?
Yes, she's BF means breastfeeding.
Oh, that's what that is. Yes, I'm BF. Oh, okay. I didn't even know that. Okay. I didn't know that BF was meaning that. If it was bad for her stomach, she's a newborn. Yeah. What do you mean by newborn? Is that a whole month, or did you have the baby this week, last week? Because there are many different things. I can't type the word OB. I'm BF. Okay. But yeah, I would definitely go with a second opinion to see what's going on. Oh, she was born on March the 9th. Okay. Oh, okay. So we're like 6 weeks, over 6 weeks. Okay. Yeah. Are you using gas drops? Because what I had to do with my children was to put gas drops on their tongue before the milk and after, and I also put a 1 or 2 drops in the formula, shook it up to make sure the air bubbles go away, and then gave them the milk. And that seemed to solve some of the problems and help with the gas on their stomach due to the bottled milk. Also, you invert, like a nipple, and then you would pull back and you'll be able to see the bubbles disappear. And then you give the baby the bottle. So those are some of the things that I would do. So let's go over that one more time. I would put a couple of drops of liquid gas drops in the bottle, shake it up, turn it upside down, invert the needle, pull it back, and you would watch the air bubbles go to the top. And once they disappear, then give that bottle to the baby. And that will help decrease some of the air on their stomach. And I don't want to give you any other advice about, I hope you have a mom or a grandmother who maybe can help you about, because they're saying, don't put cereal in a bottle, So I don't want to be on camera saying anything about that to help the baby go to sleep. But, there were some things that I had to do to make sure the baby went to sleep. And I was able to get at 30, well, my first child, of course, he drove me crazy. He was awaking every 2 freaking hours and every 4 hours. But my other 2, oh no, honey, I had them, they were going to bed at least a good 5-6 hours within a month. So one of the things you have to do is be on top of what's going on with the baby. And because babies have patterns. But as a mom, you got to be on top of the pattern, such as when what time the baby is going to be wet, when you got to change the baby, when you have to feed the baby, and some things you got to do in place so you won't have to be awakened in the middle of the night, those types of things. So I don't know if you have any other children, but some of those things, you just got to be proactive, I would say. That's one of the things I had to do with my last 2. I was proactive. My first son, I'll be like, oh my God, he's awake again. But my second 2, I learned I had to be proactive, and I had to know what exactly what was he going to be needing? He's going to be needing to be changed, diapered, changed, milk. And also, are you doing cold milk? When you're doing are you making the bottles and putting them in the refrigerator? I would say don't do that. That's very hard on a baby's stomach. What I would do is I use the infant water, the infant water that you can buy where the baby stuff is at, and keep that room temperature. Only make the bottle when it's time to feed the baby. You get the bottle and you pour the water in the bottle. You shake that up. Then I would add 1 or 2 drops for gas drops. Shake that up and then flip it over, invert the needle, watch the gas bubbles go away, and then feed the baby. That was one of my methods that I use. So, maybe that will help. And also ask, is there any other milk you can use? And how much is Enfamil anyway? Oh my gosh. My oldest boy, I gave him the good milk. It was $25 a container. That was 20 some years ago. My other two, they got the generic. It was $12.50. So I don't even know how much container of milk costs, but I know either which way is very expensive. So yeah,
It
those
depends on where you go.
okay.
At Target, you're looking at $32.49. And they have different formulas depending on what's going on
Now,
with your
now is that
child.
brand name or is that generic?
It's regular Enfamil. But Enfamil also have like WIC will cover certain Enfamils.
Hmm.
But if your child has a special case of a medical condition or whatever, you can have your doctor write a prescription and take that to WIC. And this is just from experience. Take it to WIC, and then WIC has to give your child the specific formula in
Okay.
order to make sure that child has that.
Okay.
But you have to get a doctor to say, hey, this child can't take this. They must have this in order to survive. Because looking at what's on here, 1 can of Enfamil Nutrament is something is hypoallergenic Enfamil.
Hmm.
You're looking at $75.99 each.
Whew. Well, Miss Williams said it was $42. Where are you living at? Wow. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, that's not even including childcare and diapers. Whew. Oh my gosh, that is a lot. Oh,
If you have WIC, they will give you 6 cans a month, but anything after that is on you.
okay. All right. Well, I hope that Miss Williams, you seek some services to get the best baby milk, for the baby. Also, if you're breastfeeding, they're also breastfeeding. Listen, there banks or something where you can contact other moms who are breastfeeding, and they can help you with some milk.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
I know that they have that now. Back in my day, we didn't even have the internet. Back in my day, I didn't have any options, but now they have. Is it called breastfeeding bank or what is it called? I know they have different situations where moms can get breast milk from other moms, and sometimes it's free. They might have produced a lot of milk and they want to donate to other moms who may be in need and babies in need. So those are some of the things you can look into. That might be a healthier, solution.
Go to milkbank.org if you're looking for anything regarding getting donated breast milk. Milkbank.org.
And I do commend you for breastfeeding. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Miss Corey, did you breastfeed at all?
No, they gave up on me.
I didn't breastfeed it. I breastfed the first one for 1 week. That's all I could take. I mean, it takes a special person to do breastfeeding, but also I had 3 C-sections. So, I mean, my top and my stomach can't be hurting. That's just too much pain. I mean, breastfeeding is very painful for moms. If you don't know it, it is very painful. I felt it was painful. I don't know. Yeah. How did you go with the breastfeeding, Miss Corey?
Well, they told me that they told me that I would never be able to breastfeed because I couldn't get the baby to latch. So they had me to do pumps, and I
Okay.
just pumped and pumped and pumped until I couldn't pump no more.
Okay, but yeah, back in the old days, we had the hand pump. That was just too much for me. Being a new mom, having a C-section, trying to breastfeed, then you got to pump. It was just too many steps. I was overwhelmed, and I had a child that's waking up every 2 hours. Mentally, it was just too many steps to it that I couldn't do that at this time. Now I wish if I had a now they have you can plug up to a machine, so if I could plug up to a machine, that would be, I could see doing something like that, maybe when my daughter and my daughter-in-laws, when I get them one day, uh, we'll be able to do that. That'd be a much better option. But all that pumping, wow, that was a lot of work. And it's hard. I'm a career woman. I wanted to go back to work, and I was like, yeah, I don't think this is for me. So, but I do commend you. Thank you so much for doing breastfeeding. I know that's what's best for the baby. And that sounds great. I love it when people are doing the healthy way of helping their children to adjust to now the world outside of the uterus, because this is a big, a big adjustment for baby too. Okay. All righty, Miss Corey, any other questions?
No, ma'am. We want to thank Miss Williams for participating. We hope that you will join us as we come again next week. If you have any questions or concerns or would like to be featured on any of our platforms, please email or DM at info@thenursedolls.com or right here on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and or directly on our website at thenursedolls.com. We have dolls that encourage nursing as well as activities and worksheets, as well as a quiz where you can figure out the type of nurse that you want to be and see what is interesting for you. We want to thank you so much for being so loyal to us, and we hope y'all have the most amazing rest of the weekend. Happy Easter, everybody.
And one last thing, boys and girls can be nurses. So, and remember, nursing started out with men in the Roman monks, male Roman monks, and the Catholic Church started out doing nursing in the beginning. So we need men and women to be nurses. So no matter if your baby is a boy or a girl, hey, introduce them to the world of nursing. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a great day. I'll see y'all again soon.